Hey, what's up? Welcome to another edition of The Mandatory. If you like the content, make sure to hit that like and subscribe button. Also, follow us on our social media channels. We're at The Mandatory TKO. You can also find us on the audio side. So, if you got a couple of minutes, wherever you find your audio, make sure to leave a rate and review. Also, give us a 5-star because that helps the channel grow. We got a pretty big weekend in boxing, a stacked card. Of course, it's Deontay Wilder and Zhilei Zhang. And then we got the Queensbury versus Matchroom 5-on-5. We're going to get into all of that. Also, this is an interactive show. So if you have any comments, make sure to drop them. We will be getting to all of your comments. But Bryan, I think we got to start off with the face of boxing, some may say. Canelo Alvarez vacated his IBF title. So he is no longer undisputed at super middleweight. What are your thoughts on this? Obviously, I feel like it's not like news where people are extremely surprised because his mandatory was William Skull. And I think a lot of people looked at that and they were like, I don't know if I'm too excited for that fight, even though Skull is undefeated. He's a boxer from Cuba. I believe he's 22-0, if I'm not mistaken. And now Canelo's not undisputed, but it leaves the door open for him to obviously have fights, possibly one against Edgar Berlanga or maybe a Terrence Bud Crawford, which obviously is rumored for sometime next year. But your thoughts on Canelo vacating?
Canelo transcends titles, so who cares? I love the undisputed moniker as much as the next person, but like, who gives a shit? We know how good Canelo Alvarez is, and I don't think anyone wants to see him fight William Skull, and the IBF wants to give him a title shot. And Canelo's like, I'm not interested in that fight because it's not a big money fight, even though every Canelo fight's a big money fight. But you get the point. Like, he wants to sort of maximize profit on the way out. He's going to be 34 the next time he steps into the ring because we don't expect him to step into the ring in September, and he's going to be 34 in July. William Skull's the number one contender according to the IBF. Vladimir Shishkin is second. And that is a fight that, I don't know, 20 people are going to watch, maybe 25. Like, if we're being honest about it, like, I'm sure it's going to be more than that, but you get what I'm saying. Like, other than like the diehardest of diehard boxing people, and I think there are a lot of boxing people who might just be like, I'll skip that one whenever that comes. But that's likely what the IBF is going to order and whatever. Like, I think Canelo Alvarez, we want to see him against David Benavidez, really, but I would even take an Edgar Berlanga or a Diego Pacheco matchup next before William Skull. That's for sure.
Yeah, I would rather see Edgar Berlanga and Diego Pacheco fight against each other, and
Me
then
too.
the winner
Me
gets
too.
Canelo Alvarez. But
Mhm.
I think we all want to see him against David Benavidez. I just don't think that fight's going to happen. But we do know that Canelo wants the big money fights, and of course, William Skull. I think Canelo would have made bread off of it because Canelo makes bread off of all of his fights. But at this point, he has more than 60 professional fights. You think about the mileage on those legs. And, when his last fight was coming up, you could kind of just tell that I feel like Canelo is going to walk away before it's too late, kind of thing, right? Because some guys end up boxing and then you're like, oh, it was really sad to see them like that. For example, Triple G, in their last trilogy fight, that was a tough fight to see. But I think Canelo knows that his window is getting a little bit smaller. So as sexy as Undisputed is, I think he's looking for, the legacy fights, and he's looking for those big money fights. Obviously, I think the biggest legacy fight for him to end off his career would probably be against David Benavidez, because then I feel like there would be no more talk about Canelo ducking people. Because I was on Twitter and people are like, oh, he's ducking William Skull. Canelo's not ducking William Skull, okay? That's not what it is. He's looking for the big money fight. So I hopefully we do get him and David Benavidez, but right now it seems more likely that we could possibly get him and Terrence Bud Crawford.
Yeah, that's the other fight. Listen, a lot of people are excited about that. We talked about Undisputed in a segment, the boxing game coming out. You should go check that out on our YouTube. A little more evergreen there. And the reason why I bring that up is because in the trailer, they lean into that. Canelo Alvarez versus Terrence Crawford is the fantasy fight that people want to make, which we'll see how Terrence Crawford looks at 154 in a couple months. And I assume that he's going to excel, and that'll drum up some more noise like, hey, can he get the Canelo fight at a
Go up 6 more
reasonable weight?
pounds,
Yeah,
160, right?
I
Because
don't think Canelo. I don't think Canelo. Probably 164. Like, it'll be some sort of catch weight, 65, something like that. I actually think Terrence Crawford will just go full blown to super middleweight. Like he's crazy enough. Like he'll just do it.
Yeah, you know what? I think Terrence Bud Crawford wouldn't be scared to go up to 168, but I do think the fair thing would be possibly a catch weight like 163, 164. But I highly doubt Canelo's going to want to come back down to 160, but I feel like 160 would be perfect for them. But we'll see what happens. And we'll also see if there's a possible fight between him and Edgar Berlanga. We'll see if he ends up fighting another Charlo brother. Who knows? Probably not. But, I think we all want to see him and David Benavidez. And once again, he is not ducking William Skull. So we
No,
could stop the narrative there.
like
Those tweets are ridiculous.
no one do people seriously think William Skull would beat this dude? Like no, like William Skull's clearly got talent, but like name me the best person he's beaten. Honestly, he doesn't have a better resume than Diego Pacheco or Edgar Berlanga. Like, I'm not sure what he did to become the number one contender. Like, boxing is probably the answer, and shit just happens. But he was fighting 8-rounders the last time we've seen him. So
Yeah. I'm not gonna lie though, I would watch that fight with him and Vladimir Shishkin. I think that would be a good fight.
I'll watch it. We'll be 2 of the 20 people watching it.
Yeah, I was like, oh, I don't know. I think I'd be into that fight. But nonetheless, I think this is a good move for Canelo. We know that, he's one of the greatest fighters of his generation. And just because he's not undisputed anymore, that doesn't mean anything. And I think this just sets up a big fight that is soon to come with Canelo Alvarez. So hopefully we'll hear more news about that soon. Let us know in the comments below who you want to see Canelo fight next. And obviously, if you like the content, hit that like and subscribe button because it helps the channel grow. Bryan, any final thoughts before we move on to the betting section of Deontay Wilder and Zhilei Zhang?
Yeah, comment from Anthony Beck, friend of the show. LOL, Bryan, how'd you get Shantelle up this early? Chantelle's actually an early bird. Like in the West Coast, she still be waking up before me some days.
Yeah, it's more like I got Bryan up early. That's what it's more like.